Pressing the right button. There we go. Welcome back to Holy Pastor Doing Stuff, your one-stop shop for learning how to do life the holy way. This time we're talking about how to change your car's oil. Now, we were so successful showing you how to change a car tire the holy way, we figured we'd show you how to change your car's oil as well. You can save a ton of money if you own or lease a car, if you change your own tires and change your own oil, and you'd be saving money by your own blood, sweat, and tears. That's definitely a holy thing. Now, before we get to the oil, if you're a regular viewer, and I know we have hundreds of them, you might remember that I couldn't actually get my tire off. We learned that my wheels were rusted on to the car. If that happens to you, just have some de-ruster, and we've learned, haven't we, that you can just sledgehammer that wheel right off. Seriously, it's a real tip. Alright, since that video actually did not go very well, we've decided to invite in a real expert to help us with this oil change. So say hi, Mr. Jim.
Well, hello.
Alright, so my qualifications to host this video series are very clear. I'm the holiest man on the planet. But can you explain what your qualifications are to teach us how to change the oil?
Okay, well, I guess I could say I've ran my own shop for the last 20 years. I am a master automotive service excellence technician.
Excellent.
And I guess I could say I've done a few oil changes in my life.
Awesome. Great. Alright, so let's take a look under the hood here. Because when I take a look under the hood, all I see is a black abyss. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. What should we be looking for when we open the hood?
Okay, when you look under the hood, the general things you should peek at would be looking at your antifreeze levels, see if it needs it. Windshield washer fluid, everybody seems to need it.
Yeah.
The other thing you should check is your brake fluid. There's on all master cylinders, what they call the master cylinder for a car. There's always a level that tells you where the minimum and the maximum is. You should always keep it at least in the middle of that.
Okay.
And then of course, there's an air filter here inside the box on almost all cars. This one unfortunately doesn't show it, but most cars it'll even say air filter on top of the box.
Okay.
And there's usually some sort of easy access to open it up.
Alright. So now this is a Toyota. Where is the oil?
The oil? To check the oil in a car, most cars, matter of fact almost all cars, have a yellow dipstick.
Okay.
A yellow stick to check the oil.
Okay.
And it's usually...
Now I thought dipstick was an insult. But it's a real thing.
But it's a real thing.
It's a real thing, okay.
Or level checker, if you will.
Okay.
And then you always have the cap where you would put the oil in.
That's where you put it in, okay.
That's where you add your oil. In this particular car, it's even marked on the cap.
Oil cap.
What type of oil should be in it.
Oh, excellent. So I just looked up what oil should go into a Toyota on Google.
Yep.
Should I have checked that first?
You can always check this, but if you look in the owner's manual on this car, it will tell you that you should be using 020, and I believe the manual will say 522 as an option.
Okay. Hopefully that's what we got.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. So all of those things are good things to check. You can get replacement liquids for those things at any parts store. For this video, we're just going to do the oil change because that's the biggest thing. All those things are pretty easy, right? You just pour right in.
Yep, fill them right up.
Fill them right up. So, how do we get underneath the car? Because you need to get underneath the car, right, to let out the old oil.
Well, of course, yeah, you need some sort of clearance because most cars are very low nowadays.
Yeah.
So you need to get them up in the air, and that's where we get these ramps, which you can pick these ramps up at a local parts store. Some department stores have them. Any place that sells automotive parts usually has these ramps in stock.
Excellent. And what we've discovered, because when I put the car up on the ramps, I almost went over the edge. We've discovered that having ramps that have this blocker thing here is pretty useful, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Can you tell everyone what happened when I was putting the car up?
Yes, when he drove it up, it hit these blockers. And he felt it, but the car didn't stop soon enough, so the ramps tilt.
It tilted.
But it will stop you from driving over the edge, which is good. Then you just backed up a little bit and brought him back down.
Yeah. So I did go over the edge a little bit there. Some tilt happened, but we were fine. Now, it was one of my questions. If you don't have a ramp, can you use a jack?
Yes, you can use jacks, but to be safe, you need a jack and what's called jack stands. So you raise the car up, and underneath almost all cars, there's always a spot here that says where the jacks go.
Yep.
There's little wedges, little markings there that says jack here.
Yep. We learned that, and we showed people that in the video about changing a car tire.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. But if you have those things, it's still safe.
Yes.
You're not going to get crushed.
No, as long as you have, actually I think the correct word is safety stands.
Safety stands. That's a good word. Yeah. Stay safe, everyone. You don't want to be crushed by your car while you're changing the oil. But Jesus does say we should count the cost of discipleship. We want to know that our life is going to change if we follow Jesus, and we should know as well. We should count the cost if we're going to change the car oil. It is possible to be crushed. We need to make sure we're going into that. All right. So you also have one of those slidey things that we see in all the movies and commercials and things. Yep. Should someone have one of those?
If you're going to make it a habit of doing your own oil changes or just to be looking underneath your car, yes, they're another thing that's inexpensive, and it makes and it makes things easier.
I don't know if that showed up in the video, but that was a leaf falling.
And I thought it was something flying by.
Yeah. And if you don't have one of those slidey things, what you said earlier was get a piece of cardboard, because you slide on that easier than asphalt, which I thought was pretty funny. All right, so we can do this. Should we both get under? Can we both get under?
Yes, we could if you want.
Okay. Now, I don't have a piece of cardboard for myself, so I'll just...
But I do have a cloth, drop cloth with me that you could lay on that.
Okay, I will lay on that, and you can... I'll show everyone you sliding on the slidey thing.
Perfect.
All right, excellent.
Let me get the cloth.
All right. Now, as he's doing that, I'll show everyone some other things you might want. You've got, obviously, the oil, funnel. Obviously, I just bought this. I also have some degreaser in case something goes wrong. And instead of a pot, which you might also want, what are these things called?
This is a combination drain bucket and storage tub.
All right, so the cool thing about this is that you can close the cap afterwards and then bring it to a parts store to bring the old oil, rather than having to dispose of it at your own home yourself and clean it all up. And it also has this little thingamajigger, which I'm told is useful.
Very useful if you remove your drain plug and it slips out of your fingers. It lands on that screen so you don't lose the drain plug, versus having a big bucket full of oil and you have to hunt around in the bucket of oil for your drain plug.
Oh yeah, nobody likes hunting around in a big bucket of oil. All right, so here we go.
All right.
What do we put that under first, or we drag it along with us?
You bring that underneath the car with us.
And is this the right 0W20? Is that what we wanted?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jim is very experienced. He has all this stuff in case I didn't.
All right. So, just from past experience, I just used to, if you have your own tools at home, that's great, which you should have a few things.
Yeah.
Toyotas in general, they all have a 12 millimeter or a 14 millimeter drain plug.
Okay.
I just know that from past experience, but hopefully everybody has their own small assortment of tools at home.
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm speaking to myself here. Get some of your own tools for home. All right.
All right, so
Okay.
first thing we got to do is slide this under the car, and you put that bucket right underneath where the drain plug is.
Okay. How do you do that if you're not already underneath?
Well, that's the key. You have to get under the car.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's slide it under.
All right. Here's Mr. Jim using the slidey thing.
First thing we do, I'm checking.
Oh, all
I
right.
just know yours is a 14 millimeter drain plug.
Okay. And can you see it from here?
Yes. This is what's called the oil pan.
Okay.
And right here towards the rear is the drain plug.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a little thing,
Yes.
a little metal thing.
And let's see. Okay, so I did not remember to bring my very long wrenches. These are what they call stubby wrenches. But I have a little trick for that to make it into a long wrench.
Oh yeah, we've learned about tricks like that.
There we go.
Okay. Now, should
So
we
crack
slide
the
this
drain plug
under now?
loose.
Okay, crack it loose first.
Then you bring your drain plug over here.
Okay.
And just so you know, remember that the drain
there it
plug
is.
is on an angle like that.
It's on an angle.
It could shoot past the
It
bucket.
could spurt out
So be prepared
like
to...
a fountain.
Yeah, so be prepared to move the bucket.
Okay. Now, if oil gets on your hands, you're forever tainted. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's over time it will wash away. And there you go. You make a
Okay.
little bit of mess, but
All right. So that is excellent. As you can see, folks, it is coming out at a little bit of an angle, so it's not going straight downwards.
yeah,
At some point, as it drains, it probably will start
correct.
falling more straight down,
And you
right?
may want to move the bucket back a little bit.
Okay. Absolutely.
Oh, while we're waiting for the oil to drain, on
Okay.
this particular car, or most Toyotas from probably 2010 on up, the oil filter is usually right in this area.
The oil filter.
There's a plastic cover,
Uh-huh.
and you remove that plastic cover, and the filter is on the inside of it.
Okay.
And
How often should you be changing the oil filter?
the filter should be changed at every oil change, because today's cars, they have oil changes. Many years ago, cars were always every 3,000 miles for oil changes.
That's right.
Nowadays, they're saying 7,500 to 10,000 miles on most cars, which is a long time. So, my feeling is the oil filter should be changed every time.
Every time. Okay.
And I shouldn't say it's just my feeling, but they recommend that too.
Okay. Who is this they?
Manufacturers.
Okay. Should we always be listening to what the manufacturers say? Aren't they a bunch of greedy people?
No, that is a very good thing to do with the oil, you know, just because, especially oil. There are some things that, very few things that they say that you should be doing that I honestly feel should not be needed.
Yeah.
Which is like an alternator belt on a car. They tell you should change that every 50,000 miles. I've seen them go 100. I go by the condition of the belt before I replace it.
Okay.
Off a rag and I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. As this, you can see it. It's essentially a drizzle now, so it doesn't take very long. This has been about what, a minute?
Yep.
Yep. Now, the color of that oil on your hands was not the color I was expecting. I was expecting black. You know, that's the image of oil that I have in my hands. But yours was more like the color of baby poo when they have a liquidy poo.
That's an indication that the engine is very clean on the inside.
Oh, excellent.
Which means that apparently the oil, you have maintained your oil some.
All right. I'll take credit.
Sometimes it comes out very, very black, and if it does come out like that, it's probably because it's been too long for an oil change.
Okay, so if you're changing your own oil and you see it's black, we have learned you need to change your oil more often or use a better oil. All right.
Something I probably should have told you. I usually bring rubber gloves when I do an oil change.
Okay, rubber gloves. I was going to ask about that.
Makes it a little easier and a little easier to clean up afterwards.
Yeah. But you didn't put them on beforehand.
Not after the fact. All right, so
what are these things?
this is the tool to remove the cover on the oil filter.
Okay.
Okay. That's something also that you can buy at your local parts store or Walmart, wherever.
Is this just a normal, what do you call those wrenches?
That is just a normal everyday ratchet wrench.
Ratchet wrench.
Yes.
That's it. That's the word.
Looks like it might be a little bit too long for being under this car, but I think I can still make it work.
Okay.
So the oil is...
Do you need to wait until it is absolutely 100% done?
No, if it comes down to a drip, you know, dripping is fine. Here it's just probably, surprisingly, there's probably another quarter of a cup that'll probably keep coming out of this
Really?
in a few minutes.
That is surprising.
So we'll wait a few minutes for that.
Okay.
But yeah, so I can't really get at the oil filter right now with that bucket there. So we'll wait a few more minutes. And what I could do in the meantime is I guess I could fill the fluids.
We could do that. We could also talk about what religious significance you find in changing oil by yourself.
Nice quiet time by myself to think.
There you go. Yeah. You can get out of the house, get away from all the other things and just do something you know how to do and be at peace with the world. Alright, so this is the, if I remember correctly, this is the washing fluid, thank you.
Yeah.
The antifreeze is the other thing.
So yeah, as it turns out, this one was almost full already anyways.
Oh, alright.
Very surprising. I'm not...
Because I don't use much.
This is a funny color, this is green, but it's made by a company that says it's good for removing bugs and makes your windshield wipers work better.
Interesting, alright. I apologize to everyone about the video quality ahead of time. I have sometimes been looking at Jim with my own eyes and not through the video camera, so I don't know if his face is in the video camera or not. Alright, so now this is the antifreeze.
Now the antifreeze on this is a little bit low, not much. Something you should make sure of if you do need to buy antifreeze is all manufacturers have their own particular antifreeze that they... This particular one is universal antifreeze. It can be used all across the board.
Okay.
You just have to make sure that you either get universal or what's specific for the car manufacturer.
Okay. And it is okay if you spill some.
Yeah.
Especially because I've learned these tubes here use vacuum technology, suction technology, you could also say. And so if it ever gets too full, it just spurts out.
Yeah, it pushes it out.
Just spurts out anyway, and so it's okay if you get some in your car. Alright, what was the other thing?
Alright, so now we're going to look at...
Right. The other thing was the brake fluid, but my brake fluid is fine.
Yeah, his brake fluid is right in the middle of where it should be, so that's a good thing. Alright, now, I guess we can probably look at the air filter if you'd like.
Okay.
You should look at, if it's easy to get at, some cars are very difficult to get at, and you'd probably want to have your local garage man to look at it. But this particular one is very easy to get at. And it's kind of dusty and dirty, but it's really not terrible. I would probably just shake it out and put it back in.
Shake it.
Yep, knock it on the ground a little bit.
Yeah.
Knock the loose stuff out of it.
This is real serious workmanship there.
Yeah, this is really not bad at all, so I would leave this and put it back in the car and check it again the next time around.
Alright, now I've lived in my house for 2.5 years, and I was just told that I should change the air filter in the house every 6 months. So I've been neglecting my duty. How often should we change the air filter in the car?
The car air filter should be checked at every oil change.
Okay.
Especially after the summer with the heavy pollen.
Okay.
The filter will plug right up with the pollen in the dirt.
Yeah.
And it has a large effect on the efficiency of the heating system and air conditioning system.
All right. Okay.
So as it works out, the air filter is fine.
You are getting your money's worth with this video. You're getting everything.
So
All
at
right.
this point, we should be able to go underneath and go back to the draining of the oil, finished draining of the oil, and change the oil filter.
All right.
All right.
Excellent. And again, all of these things we just did, you can get your own stuff. And I just realized you got this rag out for me.
Yeah, if it's good for you.
I'll go this. Oh no, I can't. That's on it.
Wherever you
All
want.
right. Man, this video is just gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be a little editing.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so we're gonna put the drain plug back in.
All right.
There is a gasket that I probably should have shown you. On this particular one, I'll have to pull out my little Boy Scout knife here.
All right.
Okay, it was stuck to the oil pan, but there's always a gasket there. Make sure the gasket is there when you take it out, and make sure it's in good shape, which this one is in very good shape.
Okay.
If it was time to change it, there'd be little cracks around it.
Cracks,
But this is in very good shape.
All right.
So it is reusable. All right. Now when you tighten this drain plug, hand tight, oh actually you don't even need that, but hand tight is perfect. Doesn't have to be crazily tight.
Okay. Now this is how you get free work done in your car. You say, we're doing a video, we're helping people.
Let's see, now you have the oil filter?
Do I? I don't. I thought I did.
Oh no!
Oh no, I have the oil,
Yeah, the oil,
but not the oil filter. I know we bought one.
you did buy one?
Yes.
Yeah. So, oh, you know what? Before we get this.
All right, we are back after having gotten our oil filter. That's very important. Remember to do that. That's part of the oil change. So oh, what did we do with it? Oh, it's right here. Okay. All right. So, and as we get this out, we should probably have opened that.
Yeah.
You will see. It comes in a little box. Make sure you get the one right. You can just ask, as we did at the store. Hey, this is the type of car it is. They'll get you the right one. But that's all it is.
Very simple and little.
And little. Yep. And as we took a break from the video and went out to get that oil filter, one thing we talked about was we can start getting it. Was having people in your life who are willing to actually help you. Not just say, yeah, if you need anything, let me know. People who will actually come by and help you with stuff, like Mr. Jim. That's very important. That's something we can talk about being part of this holy video.
All right, so your oil filter is way up here on its side. A little difficult to get at, but they have this special socket, especially for this particular brand car.
Right, so that's another thing. You want that little socket tool. And put the wrench in, and you will twist it off.
Yep, we didn't need the extension, we just need the socket.
It's very similar in a way to changing your tire off
Yes.
with the what are those called? The nuts.
She slipped off on me.
Suppose, would it be terrible if someone said that's what she said? Yes, probably. This is a holy video.
And of course, everything is getting stuck.
We're not going to run into the problem of it's not coming off, are we?
Oh no, it's coming off.
Okay.
It's just a little, there is this little, how to explain it, there's a little tab that sticks out. It's supposed to stop the oil filter from accidentally loosening up. I need to get that little tab out of the way. There we go. And it's still getting stuck. I need to reposition my socket. You'll find that out when you go to turn it if you're doing one of these particular cars. There's this little metal tab that sticks out to stop the oil filter from accidentally loosening up. But you'll figure it out that you just need to move the socket to get around it.
Alright, and the oil filter, we didn't talk about this, but if it's placed differently on other cars, it'll probably still be right next to the oil container.
Yes, almost all cars, the oil filter is very close to where your drain plug is. There we go. Now I got it out of the way.
You can kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of a silly thing sometimes to manipulate.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see on the video because everything is black in there, but you can kind of see the tab.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, and then it
Put
came
that
off.
back in- yeah, it fell out, which is fine. Just going to push it back in the hole that it came out of. Where is
See
it?
it.
There it is. That's a little tab to...
Yep.
It goes in a little slot. Okay, so now that I got it loose before it starts leaking, I need to move the bucket
Right? Yep.
back over to where the filter is. I think it might be loose enough to turn by hand. Yes, it is. All right. So, at some point it will start dripping. There it goes. So you might want to just, before you pull it right out and you get a big splash, you just let it drain out. And there it is.
And there it is.
Just pull the little cartridge out of there. Then we're going to slide out from under the car.
And
and you'll see this.
Does it matter which way we put the filter on when we put the new one on?
The good thing is, no, it doesn't matter. It can go any way, either direction.
Yeah,
The seal is in good shape, but you really should change it every time.
Right, and the seal came with the filter, so there's no reason not to.
So you take the cartridge, as you can see, it doesn't look any different either side. Just slide it in there. And
What's great about these videos, and I think it's pretty unique, is we're showing people as it goes. I'm learning with everybody, so that if you watch those other videos of how to do these things, they go super fast, they don't actually show you what they're doing, and this is some real quality expert advice and modeling here of how to do all this stuff.
so you make sure that O-ring goes back into the same slot that it came out of.
Okay, yep.
Make sure it's seated all the way, which it is.
All right.
So then now, put it back in.
Put it back in. And you're just gonna, just as you twisted it on, remember your old school lefty loosey, righty tighty.
All right, so now, okay, it's getting in there. Now here's another thing too, is when you tighten this up, it doesn't need to be tight. Snug is good.
All right, snug is good. Doesn't need to be too tight. So it's not like the nuts on the car that on tires where you want
Right.
super tight.
Now this
Well,
here is, once it hits bottom, just give it a little nudge.
Right.
Tight enough. I gotta get my socket back, my oil filter wrench
Oh, yeah.
back off of there. It goes. It was stuck. Sometimes they'll stick to them and you gotta wiggle it a little bit. And then that metal tab.
Yep, get that
When you
tab
look
on
up in there, you'll see that there's a small hole on the side. It just gets pushed back into that hole. There, that locks it in place.
Yeah. Okay. So you put it in, then you twist it a little bit to make sure
And all
it
that
covers.
does, that little tab, it just rests up against the side of that oil filter cover.
Yeah.
It just stops it from inadvertently backing out. I have, in all my years working on cars, I've never seen one come out. So
Okay. Good. Good.
don't be afraid.
All right, and you slide out. You can pull that out, and I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but you can bring oil to a part store near you, and they'll take it. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. What about like an auto repair shop? Will they take it as well? Or?
Some auto repair shops will take it because nowadays a lot of automotive repair shops heat their shops with drain oil.
Oh, hey.
So they'd be more than glad to accept whatever you have.
Reduce and reuse.
Yes.
All right.
We just talked about that this past Sunday?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Reduce and reuse is good for the environment. It's good for your wallet. And it's partly what being a disciple of Christ is all about. So that we can give more of ourselves and more of our resources to good things.
All right.
All right.
So now, moving on
oil.
to the next thing. Now that you've got your drain plug tight and your oil filter is back on, now we need to refill the oil.
All right.
So, in your owner's manual, if you're concerned about how much oil you need, your owner's manual, if you look in the back, it will say a section says service specifications. It tells you how much oil and what type of oil your car needs. Just past experience, I know most of these 4-cylinder cars take 4 quarts plus a little. I'm not sure the total capacity on this, so what I'm going to do is put probably 3, maybe 4 into it, check the oil, and then once I have it full, you start the car up, shut it off, and recheck the oil because it has to fill the oil filter up and it's going to take a little bit.
All right. Excellent.
All right.
All right. So how do we get this cap off? I was just trying to twist it, and it
No?
no.
Have a lock. Oh, okay, yeah.
Is it child lock?
Just fits pretty tight.
Oh, it was just on there tightly. Okay.
All right, so we're going to need a funnel.
Oh, yep. Funnel.
One funnel. It's got a pretty small hole in it, but it should work all right because the oil is 020 oil is pretty thin.
And because of the small hole,
It goes in a little
it's
slow.
going in slowly.
The good thing, this particular bottle has a little window on the side, so you know how much you put in.
Great.
That works pretty good.
Who bought this funnel? Who did that?
Still going. Sorry. What do we got in there already? It's a little slow and tedious with this one, but that's okay. I try not to make a mess, but it happens. The oil now just to see where we're at.
Alright. Whoa, what am I doing?
Well, you can leave that right in there because we're not going to start the car.
Okay, alright.
We're just going
That's
to,
right. We're just,
so
checking.
just so you should know, yeah, don't ever start the car with that in there. Probably should never start the car with the oil cap off because it will spray oil out of the hole. Alright, so it is still showing not quite a quart down. So we're going to put some more in there.
check number 2. Yeah, and you always want to wipe the dipstick
Before
when you
check
pull it out,
Yeah.
so that when you check it, it's accurate.
Alright, so it's showing about a half a quart down, but at this point we can start the car up, back it down off the ramps, shut the car off, because you need the car sitting pretty level before you check the oil correctly.
That's true.
So now we're a half a quart down would never hurt a car to start it. So
And there will be no reason why we need to put the car back up on the ramps at this point.
No.
Correct. Yeah. So we will do that.
the only reason would be is when you do. The only reason would be is when you start the car to back it down. Before you back it down, start the car, look underneath, make sure your oil filter is not leaking. And then you can back it down, shut it off, check your oil, and finish filling the oil.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. Cap back on. We will then doing some cleanup. We are going to. I'm going to pause the video while we turn on the car. But yes, check to make sure nothing is spilling or leaking. And then, if you're good, you can back down off the ramp.
Down off the ramps.
Okay, so the next time you see this video, there will be probably a weird cut in the video, but the car will be off the ramps. Hopefully, unless something is wrong. Alright, here I am getting out of the car. One thing we didn't say at the beginning is you might want to put your emergency brake on once you get up onto the ramps. Alright, so nothing was leaking. You'll know if things are leaking or dripping right away because there's how many pounds of...
Usually around between 40 and 55 pounds of oil pressure.
Yeah, so it'll come out right away.
Yeah.
Alright.
So here we are. Now that the car's been backed down and ran, you shut it off, check the oil again. It should be down some. Wipe the stick off, put it back in.
Yeah, 40 to 50 pounds of pressure is a lot. That's more than I can
Yeah.
bench press.
See, so after we ran it, it was only about a half a quart down. Now it looks like it's down 3/4 of a quart. So just a little bit of it went into the oil filter.
Okay. Little teeny weeny bit.
Yeah.
Alright. Now we're going to pour the rest of the oil in. The whole container.
Nope. No, you don't want to do that. There should be about a half a quart left here, I believe. Not sure. We'll find out shortly. The oil capacity does change on these cars. Doesn't necessarily mean that all Toyota Corollas take 4.5 quarts. Some years they're a little bit less, some years a little bit more.
We're being attacked by leaves here. Now, as we said, this is a Toyota, but
Typically, probably, well, not probably, the owner's manual will tell you, and if you've lost your owner's manual, are the types of engines generally the same, like 4 volt, 6 volt, generally around the same?
Yeah, the 4 cylinders or 6 cylinders, but if you're going
Cylinders, that's what I meant.
If you are going to a parts store to get your oil filter, they can look at, when they look up your oil filter, you could ask them to tell you what the capacity is, and they can tell,
Okay.
they usually can tell you.
Excellent. Now, you faithful viewers couldn't see me, but I was nodding my head as if, oh yes, that makes obvious sense. Just ask for help, as we were saying earlier. It's okay if you don't know how to do this, if you, even after watching the video, like, oh my gosh, someone please help, just ask for somebody.
Yep.
Including the store people.
Most parts stores, the people behind the counter are usually very helpful.
If you go Wednesday morning, as we just discovered, there's probably no one else in the store, so they're probably looking for stuff to do, so it'd be kind of you to go in there and ask for help.
Just about full, so this one looks like, I'm not going to take it all, but it's probably 4 3/4. That would be my guess.
Alright. And that's all there is to it. Now when we're done with this, we're also going to check the cabin filter, which is on the inside of the car. But unless you pay us extra money, we're not gonna show that part. This video is gonna be long enough.
So there it is. This takes apparently 4 3/4 quarts of oil.
All right, before it is full, and it'll.
Yep.
You can see what you can see on the video clearly is the little notch
Yeah.
that shows you.
See that?
When it's
on this
full.
one there is that little notch or dot, I guess you could say, but that would be your full mark. When you're all done,
Yeah.
that's what you should be. If you're a smidgen over, it's not going to hurt anything, but the
Yeah.
full mark is there. In this particular case, we are right on the dot. I don't know if that shows in the video.
It's kind of hard because of the sunlight. But, yeah.
So there it is.
Well, all right. How does it feel to be a celebrity, Jeff?
It's a little different.
Yeah. Well, that is how you change your oil the holy way. Pretty easy at the end of the day. Once you know what you're doing, you have the right materials and tools and things. That seems to me to be the hardest part, making sure you have everything. So we've shown you everything you need. We've shown them everything that they need to do, right?
Yes, we have.
Okay, all right. So then you just put down the hood, make sure it clicks off, of course, if you've never done the hoodie thing before. There is a thing that you need to make sure is back in the little notch in this car so that you can click it closed. And that's it. So Holy Pastor is off to his second job, taking a shower because I've been anxious sweating this whole time. Oh my gosh, is the car gonna fall off? So I need a shower. But until next time, what is my phrase? Be holy, take it holy. Until next time, keep it holy. That's my phrase. Until next time.